It was a quiet evening when my phone buzzed with a Facebook notification. My wife had just posted a photo of herself with her work colleague, smiling arm in arm. The caption read, "My real partner." My stomach sank. Already, the likes and comments were pouring in. Friends laughing, sending hearts, even her mother chiming in. Finally, someone worthy. I didn't yell. I didn't call. I didn't send a text. I simply typed a comment, short but devastating. "Congratulations. The divorce papers are on the kitchen table." The house fell silent that night. I didn't sleep, but by the next morning, when she walked into her office, her post had already made the rounds. Her boss had seen it, and his reaction was nothing like she expected. She entered the office like nothing had happened, confident and proud. But her boss was waiting, expression unreadable. He called her in, closed the door, and placed his phone on the desk, showing her post. "Explain this," he demanded. She laughed nervously. "Oh, just a joke. Office humor, you know." His expression didn't change. "Not funny. Especially not when shareholders see your employees representing the company online. And you tagged the company page. Do you realize how this looks?" Her confidence wavered. "It's not what it seems." Before she could continue, he tapped the screen again, showing my comment. "I also spoke to your husband. He wrote this. Why should I keep someone who drags their personal drama into my company's reputation?" She froze. Outside, whispers spread among co-workers. Screenshots circulated faster than she could react. For the first time, she realized the situation had completely escaped her control. By midday, the whispers had grown into outright laughter. Screens lit up with her post, my comment, and the boss's stern expression as she fumbled for an explanation. She fled to the bathroom, locking herself in a stall, scrolling through dozens of missed calls and messages, her phone overflowing with notifications from me, friends, colleagues, even family. I had quietly shared her post and my reply in her family group chat. Within minutes, the truth was everywhere. Her brother texted in shock. "What are you doing? Are you insane?" Her aunt wrote, "You've ruined everything with a single post." When she finally emerged, her colleague, the one she had tagged, avoided her gaze. His wife had seen the post and was already on her way. My wife's carefully curated image of power and success was crumbling in real time. And all I had done was type 12 words. When the colleague's wife arrived, the office felt frozen in suspense. She marched to my wife's desk, slamming a stack of printed screenshots in front of her. "Explain this," she demanded, voice trembling with anger. My wife stammered, her arrogance evaporating. "It's just a joke." The caption was misunderstood. "A joke?" The other woman shot back. "Then why call my husband your real partner online? Why text him at 2 a.m.? Every eye in the office turned toward them. Even her boss, the same man my wife once bragged about impressing, watched in stunned silence. Her world of lies, pride, and public image had collapsed in the harsh light of day. And I hadn't done anything beyond hitting post. She stared at him, disgust etched across her face, as if the words themselves were a personal affront. "You've humiliated this company," he said, his voice ice cold. "Pack your things and leave, right now." The HR representative didn't intervene or offer a single word of explanation. With a cardboard box in her hands, she walked down the same corridors she had once owned, the hallways where her confidence had made others pause. But now, the atmosphere was different. Phones were raised, colleagues whispered behind their hands, and some even dared to smirk openly. Every step she took felt like it echoed her own shame. This public humiliation, as sharp and bitter as it was, would turn out to be only the beginning. When she finally reached her apartment, the divorce papers were waiting like silent predators, laid out neatly on the kitchen counter. They seemed to mock her, an unspoken verdict on her choices. Taped to the envelope was one final sting, a printout of her own caption, the words she had flaunted, now thrown back in her face. That night, my phone didn't stop buzzing. Messages flooded in. Angry calls. Tearful voices. Desperate texts. People pleading for understanding. "Please, it can't be true. Think of the children." But I didn't respond. Instead, I poured myself a drink, settled into my chair, and watched from the edges of her unraveling life, a quiet observer of a storm she had chosen herself. By the next morning, her life had become an open secret. My mother-in-law, quick to defend her in the past, screamed into the phone in disbelief and fury. Friends distanced themselves online faster than she could type explanations or apologies. The colleagues who had once envied her, once whispered her name with admiration, were now sharing memes and inside jokes at her expense, reveling in her downfall. Even the man she once referred to as a work husband faced immediate consequences. His real wife filed for separation the very next day, citing infidelity. He moved out, leaving her to face the wreckage of her choices alone. Every connection she thought secure crumbled, leaving her isolated. Then came the legal blow. The company filed a lawsuit against her for reputational damage and blatant violations of workplace policy. The image she had carefully curated, her reputation of perfection, was obliterated. Every reckless decision, every moment she had mocked me or thrown away our bond for a fleeting thrill, now came back to define her life. And in the end, she was the one left begging. When she finally appeared at my door, her eyes red and swollen from tears and sleepless nights, her voice trembled as she whispered, "Please. I have nothing left." I met her gaze and said nothing. "You wanted a real partner. Here are the consequences." Then I closed the door. No argument, no lecture, no mercy. Weeks later, the divorce was finalized. The settlement left her with nothing but debt, while everything I had worked for remained in my hands. But the most devastating blow didn't come from contracts, lawsuits, or public humiliation. It came from the person she had hurt the most, our son. One Saturday, she showed up uninvited at his soccer game, forcing a smile as if nothing had changed. Kneeling in front of him, voice shaking, she said, "Sweetheart, it's me. Mommy." He looked at her, his young eyes clear and cold, and said words that cut sharper than any courtroom battle. "Mommy, my real parent doesn't post captions. My real parent shows up." Her face drained of color. She reached for him, hoping to bridge a chasm too wide to cross, but he turned and ran straight into my arms. I didn't need to say a word. The silence between us was louder than any shouting, heavier than any legal victory. From that day on, she wasn't just the woman who had lost a husband, a career, or her public image. She was the woman who had lost her son's respect. And some losses, no matter how hard one tries, can never be reclaimed. Holding him close, I realized that revenge wasn't just about watching her fall. It wasn't about lawsuits or humiliation. It was about creating a life that thrived, a life she could no longer touch, a life built on loyalty, love, and presence, things she had abandoned. As the days passed, I watched her attempt to rebuild, to make excuses, to regain footing in the world she had damaged. But no matter how hard she tried, the void she had created was permanent. And I understood then that real justice isn't just punishment. It's living well, growing stronger, and protecting those who matter most. She had chased a thrill, ignored the people who loved her, and traded stability for a fleeting escape. In the end, she was left with nothing but the memory of what she had lost, while we moved forward, unbroken, stronger, and whole.